I will say we should talk about some of the staples maybe that are like best or not. Like I have like 4 tiers: S tier, average, below average, and bad. Um, like I put Forbidden Droplet and Ultimate Slayer in S tier. Would you guys agree with that? Like in terms of
I'd
staples
say
going
Forbidden
into
Droplet.
go on.
No, those cards. No, no. The only card that I would consider an absolute staple right now is Thrust. Well, maybe Talents as well, but like, I don't know. There's not a lot of good generic cards that deal with Unchained super effectively, other than like
You don't think
Nibiru.
Droplet is S tier? Like I guess S tier slash staple. Yeah, if we're doing staple as
I mean,
the
it'll see more play because of Arise Heart's non-existence, but I mean, we'll just have to see how well the card performs given its hiatus, because that card is 3 years old.
so
Nothing against the card, it's just the cost might be a bit too much to be able to break the opponent's board and still have options to play. Like our game last night.
so
Rather at that locals.
so would you say they're very good in main and side? Droplet.
Can be very effective, and I mean, of course, like, if you use a card effectively, I'm sure it'll work out. It's just Droplet's cost is making me very hesitant to call it a staple, because half of the decks right now can't afford that cost. Like,
So what about
imagine
Slayer?
Droplet and Slayer's even worse.
So
That card's terrible.
I mean, you get a plus.
Play that card. Do not ever buy into that card being a good card. This is just me talking to the audience. Do not buy Ultimate Slayer. The card is not good. It's going to underperform so hard.
I mean, we'll see. I don't know. It's been hyped up for a while to be good, but until
I would rather play Psychic Eraser Laser than Ultimate Slayer. And Psychic Eraser Laser is like bad.
That's a very bold take. We'll have to see how it pans out, but that's fair. Like, I mean, like, I think you're right when you were talking about the pendulum stuff and like how that probably won't be as good as people say it is, but we'll see.
I just don't want to mess with my extra deck to be able to break my opponent's board.
I feel like in most decks it doesn't matter, and like in some decks it helps, like branded and yeah, branded.
The Ultimate Slayer hype is already starting as well. It's
Yeah, that's why.
I mean, it's
Glenn, what
yeah,
do you think it's real? Like, I mean, you obviously bought into it. As a person who just bought 9 Ultimate Slayers after the ban list dropped, do you think it's gonna be good?
Yeah, I mean,
Obviously,
you could have got them for 10s at just before the list dropped today on TCG Player. They're now selling for 15s for near mints. So, I mean, price has already gone up 50%. I mean, the hype's there, but
still,
also that's market watch talk right there.
Exactly,
That's
yeah,
entirely different.
But
Let's be real.
Okay, but I'm just trying to see Glenn's take on this for the ban list. What do you think? Like, where would you put it in a tier list for like S tier staple, very good in main side, average slash side deck worthy, or just bad in terms of Ultimate Slayer?
It's probably in between your A and B tier there.
What average side deck worthy? Yeah.
Yeah, it's between average versus deck worthy. I don't think I would ever main Ultimate Slayer unless, of course, we hit such a format where it's Unchained tier 0, which doesn't seem likely, right? The deck loses to a lot of side cards already. Ultimate Slayer is good for just outing one problem card, right? So, I mean, it's good against Purrely and Unchained. That's probably the application for it right now, is the fact that it beats the top 2 decks. That's probably the most important thing to know about the card, is that if we're going to a format blind right now and you're assuming that the top 2 decks that have been the top 2 decks next to kashtira are going to rise, then you should look towards Ultimate Slayer as being the generic, let me side 3 these in to beat these 2 decks. But once again, I mean, you need to play a Link deck slash Xyz deck, which not every deck can do, but most decks can, at least slot one of each. So
how do we here? Yeah, final thoughts on Ultimate Slayer.
if you're using Ultimate Slayer to out one monster, wouldn't you rather just side in a Kaiju and not risk losing the Magispector matchup?
I mean, we're talking about the meta that we're going to be playing in 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like Magispectors can consistently put up Secret Village, so like.
Well,
I mean, it's
obviously,
probably just another format, but like I want to be ahead of the format. I don't want to be like changing it as changes are being made.
I think because of
being ahead is how you win. That's how Pac won.
No, you're totally right, and that's why I feel like because of anti-spell being a thing that will keep being a thing that's very good and very prevalent, Ultimate Slayer will never be that good because of that card.
Anti-spell's not good against Unchained though.
But everyone's on anti-spell. If you go to an event and you can run anti-spell, you're running anti-spell because it covers up all your other matchups. Like, so what I'm saying is if you're playing card, like, that's why I don't think, like, I mean, Feather Duster and Lightning Storm are very good, but also, like, just, like, the mid cards that can play into anti-spell, like, that don't do a whole lot, I don't think are worth it. But I don't know. That's just my take. But, any closing thoughts on, that before? I mean, like, Droplet also, I just put in main, good in main and side, so yeah, I was gonna, Book of Eclipse.
It's gonna be good. We'll just have to wait to see how good it's going to be. Because, like I said, if the deck can't handle the cost, it's probably not going to play it. And the decks that can handle the cost don't want to send so many cards that they don't have anything to play with after it resolves. It's weird because like the card is very old. I'm not saying it's outdated in any way because like the card is still Droplet after all, but like maybe it's just not as effective, and that's okay.
Okay, so what do you guys feel like about Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse as a staple? Like, is it gonna be S tier staple, both amazing in both? Is it gonna be just a good card in main or side, or is it gonna be an average side deck worthy card or bad?
I would rather play personally, I would rather play Book of Moon than Book of Eclipse, just because like you can side it going first as well against the decks that it's good against. And I mean, sure, the same thing is true with Eclipse if you're ending on Link monsters, but like
you're not gonna make your opponent draw.
Right. I also don't like the point of interaction that it loses to Ash. I think that's dumb.
I like baiting the Ash, but I understand that it does matter. It does come up and matter. Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Book of Eclipse is going to see as much play as Book of Moon, and Book of Moon is probably going to see like relatively universal side deck play, but it's not going to be a card that's brought in every match because there's going to be a lot of Unchained.
Someone's knocking at my door if you guys want to take over the conversation for a minute.
So, Glenn.
What's up, bud?
You playing the DDDXEs in lab?
Wait, what? Why would you do that?
Because you can make it.
Yeah, you can make it. Yeah, you can make it.
How?
DDD Wave King Caesar takes 2 level 4 fiends as material, and you just overlay Devicer on top of that.
You never have 2 level 4 fiends though. That's the issue.
Yeah. I'm cooking something fun for locals, but not like competitive.
Not fun for us, fun for you. Got it.
Yeah. It's a Lab Unchained.
That I thought was going to be the most prevalent version of Unchained when it came out. To be honest, so that's what people.
It's kind of like it. I don't know. It's kind of like how Zoo Drago format was. Playing your deck pure is probably just better. I mean, Lab Unchained is certainly a synergistic deck. It's just...
Oh, it's just funny. Ghastly Glitch is really the fun part.
Oh, bro, I bet that card just goes so insane.
So, with Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse, what do you guys think is better right now? Because I think last format with this past ban list, Book of Eclipse was objectively better because you could just flip the whole cache board. And now, like, I'm looking at it and it's like, what do you want those books for? And that's like to stop a link play or to stop purrely, and you only need one to do that. So I'm thinking Book of Moon is probably like, but then again, like Book of Eclipse still has that factor of turning off a board, but like I feel like they're both just like good in main and side. It might like one of them, like Book of Moon could still be S tier staple probably. I'm just like hesitant to do that until like with Unchained you're gonna be the best deck I think it's gonna be the best deck, if not Purrely. If Purrely ends up being the best deck, like 30% Unchained at 20%, like I could see people maining that. But for now, I think it's like good in main and side. I don't know how you guys feel about that, or if you have one over the other in terms of Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse.
Moon's better than Eclipse Imo.
Yeah.
Would you put Moon in S tier staple?
No.
No, I would put it in A. And deck
It's a very good
depending
fight.
and how the format develops as well, you can also look to see it mained. I don't think you'd ever see Book of Eclipse mained going forward into this format.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
I,
Yeah.
I just think it, just a one and done kind of thing is a lot better.
Yeah.
So we're putting in an average side deck matchup dependent category then.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking like staple cards that are not, if we're including Ash and staples, like that's really one of the main and only S tier cards.
We will be including Ash. We could just talk about Ash right now. So we'll just put that in S tier. I think because you hit it on the emergency for Rescue Ace, you hit the branded fusion, you hit the lab cards, you hit the Unchained Link 2 or the traps. It's just going forward, I think you need to see this card.
Ash is probably one of the best monsters ever made.
It's a zombie, I just figured out. I just found that out.
You just realized that, bro?
Yeah, I came back to the game late.
Yeah. Ash is a ridiculous Yu-Gi-Oh card. The fact that it has not stopped seeing play pretty much since release. I mean, yeah, it was a side deck card in Zoo, but it was really good as a side deck card.
It's all played to dwindle during tier format, but
Well,
it was okay.
That's because of tier just being
Yeah.
such a gravitational force.
But I mean, if you were playing a deck that could play hand traps, you were including Ash.
Yeah, you were including it in your side. It wasn't great against tier.
Wait, really? I don't think that's true. I think you would just be playing Bastiles in that format. There was no point in running
Well,
Ash
I mean,
because they would just chain block any good Ash interaction. It was so easy to chain block with tier.
I understand that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, if you were playing a deck that could include a bunch of hand traps and did not want to play the Bastiles or just had them in your side deck,
Yeah.
then you could probably include Ash in the main, and it was probably fine. But, like, I did have personal experience tier format where Ash was not good, but, I mean, tier format's the exception, not the rule. Ash
Exactly.
is fucking crazy.
So, the next card we'll do then. How do we feel about Feather Duster and Lightning Storm? I'd say last format they were in good in main and side. I think they're both very good. Like,
I think Cosmic is the move now.
I'd say, personally, like, I know a lot of people were on Cosmic before. I thought Cosmic was average. I would probably like it's probably, yeah, because like it's pretty good against Unchained. Like, you can decide in going first and hit their trap card that they target. So it's probably I would hesitate putting Cosmic in good in main and side, but like Feather Duster, let's just say I'd say it's good in main and side, right? Like, if not S tier staple, honestly.
You see, if Anti-Spell's a card that, like, you're so worried about, don't you want to be able to respond to it?
But you need to have a card to set to destroy it, kind of thing. But I agree. No, I agree. Like, my issue with Cosmic is it's like, it's not enough. It's like like for the spot you're dedicating, like it's not enough.
It can be enough. You just have to use it wisely. That's where the skill comes in.
I guess, but I don't know. It's like sometimes your opponent doesn't give you.
Dude.
They have too much gas, and it doesn't matter. Like,
I side Cosmic against Runic. It just completely obliterates them.
so how do you feel, Glenn, about?
Well,
I got so. Feather Duster, S tier staple or good in main and side?
just side it. Just side the damn cards. They're both fine sided.
Right.
Especially if you have like a going second deck.
I just think that they're
Lightning Storm.
they overperform in the good and inside decks. I'll put it in like the A tier. I mean, obviously, like anti-spell and like Unchained are things, but like outside of those, they're very good. I feel like. How do we feel about Fenrir?
Fenrir's good.
Card's nuts.
Dude.
Yeah,
Fenrir
very good.
is the best start to any deck's play lines in this entire format. It invalidates so many cards by its existence on the board that it honestly shocks me that people are like just considering how insane of a card Fenrir is. I think the issue mainly is that kashtira blinded everyone to how good Fenrir was generically, that they were just like, we have to play out to cash, when in reality Fenrir is the best out to cash. All you need to do is summon it, activate its effect, get another one, and then do anything else, and then get rid of it. You don't even need to play Curry Carr for that stuff. Like, also, Fenrir does exceptional work in control decks because it gives them an extra finisher on the field in addition to whatever they have. Like, it's good at setting up the ability for control decks to win either through its effect or through attacking. It's not reliant on your normal summon, meaning you can still lava golem their field and then summon Fenrir, and that's just GG against some decks. It being a level 7 with Ash being a 3 to make Barone is like good if it's the only thing you can do. It eats up interruptions like crazy, and it's just overall a fantastic end piece to whatever combo you're doing in addition to whatever else you have. And I'd say it's a mainstay.
And if you break your board, kill you, you just have another Fenrir on the track of it.
I was very much thinking, especially like with an Unchained meta where Fenrir can literally like play into a Unchained board pretty well.
Easily one of the.
I think it's an S tier, amazing in both main and side. Like I could see myself maining it in Branded, which was something we were doing before. So I'm very much inclined, because before I thought it was good in main and side, but I think now with like a Rise Heart gone, it just like no other deck can be able to abuse Fenrir. It's like, why not just main Fenrir at that point when it's such a free card? So yeah, I would put an S tier unless anyone contests that.
No, I generally agree with that. If your deck can play Fenrir, you should. Card's insane. That goes to like literally anyone that can play Fenrir. Like you could throw it in pretty much any deck that doesn't have a Xeno lock on it.
How do we feel? Like, yeah. How do we feel?
Play it in Hero, but like, nah.
We'll go back to Cosmic though. Then, so do we think that's Cosmic is good in main and side, or average side deck matchup dependent?
I think it is a very good side deck card. It's not really matchup dependent. More so, it's just you have to time it right. Like I said, you have to use it tactically.
So you put it in A tier.
Yeah, I put it in the same tier as Book of Moon. I mean, I've had personal experience where Cosmic Cyclone is like the deciding card.
So do we put Eclipse in A tier or B tier? Because we're putting Book of Moon. I have a hard time putting it in B tier when it was just like one of the best staples of the last format. So
I have a hard time putting it in B tier, considering that like that would just insult all the other B tier cards. I don't think Book of Eclipse is very playable.
Really? Okay. Glenn, where would you put it? A or B tier?
What boards would you eclipsing?
Which one?
Right?
Book of Eclipse.
B tier?
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, you can play it.
The thing about Book of Eclipse is that
both of them are in B tier.
It's really good in formats where your opponent has a huge board you have to deal with, but it doesn't put up a huge number of negates.
No, it needs to put up 0 negates.
Okay, we put that in B tier.
We're vulnerable to it.
How do we feel about Nibiru?
That card's excellent.
Nibiru is so good. It just destroys mana if they don't like make a Barone first.
Yeah. No, the card is excellent.
It covers all your rogue matchups basically outside of top tier, and also Unchained it does put a dent into the board. It does not solve that matchup, but if you have a Nibiru plus one other hand trap, you're usually really good, or plus a board breaker.
Right, but the thing is, like, given that it's not enough on its own against Unchained, if you want to beat Unchained using different cards, you don't have to play Nibiru.
Do you think Nibiru's main deckable now that Cash is gone? Because that was one of the reasons people were maining Nib.
Yes, Nibiru is very, very main deckable now. It's also extremely easy to just put into your sideboard. Because, like, if you're main decking it and you go up against a deck and they know that you have Nib from game 1, they're probably going to play around it, making your other sideboard cards that would be really good in that matchup absolutely insane. So, how I would go about it is I would put Nibiru in S tier, but know that it's a card that can work in your main deck and can be easily sided out of your main deck for cards that would generally do a better matchup. It's just Nibiru is a really good first hit to, like, see where your reaction points are against the deck, to, like, see if you can hit one of their choke points with a card in your sideboard.
How do we feel about D barrier?
Rough one, dude. That's.
I know, right?
Explaining to me that card is, like, as playable now as other cards is going to be really hard.
Hi, my name is Triple Tactics Thrust and Talents. I can just search this card out for free when you activate one effect and turn skip you.
On the
I
flip
understand
side,
that.
though, if we can play devil's advocate, that card is giga useless in just some matchups. Holy hell is it?
That's why I feel like it's A tier, but, like, will always be, like, the top of, or, like, well, strong in the right deck matchup kind of thing. So yeah, it's probably average, but it is average because it is inherently, like, a neg 1, and, like, I feel like overall you would probably want other cards, but it will just win you free games.
Unless we somehow stumble into a meta where it's all trap decks and all link decks, that card will always have viability.
So do you think it's yeah? So I think it still has to go B tier. Well, average side deck match.
I'm saying it's always I'm right now it's A tier. Like,
oh, you think? Okay, yep.
Absolutely. Unless all of a sudden it's just link decks and lab that show up.
Unchained Barincess and Salad Takeover, baby.
You can't count out Altergeist.
Then like it's dead against Salad for the most part, and it's definitely dead against Princess. Holy hell, is it dead against Princess? There's so many times I've played Sam where opening like 2 copies of that card, and I just want to, I just want go game 2. Like it's such a dead draw into those matchups, but at the same time, last format was just such a main deckable card. I mean,
well, that's why you side it now. So when you come across the matchup where it's insane, you just take the free games.
For sure.
I
So
would agree with that completely. I would put it in A tier. It's a staple in side decks, and it's absolutely a fantastic card. But God forbid you go into a tournament and game 1 you are against Marince's Salad. I mean, Unchained, it's fine. Like, right, you can call Xyz and stop any Xyz play that they want to do, but like the other two, like any link deck, it's just a bad time. You're just at a disadvantage.
Well, the worst part about it is, like, against Unchained, if they start with Dark Contract with the gate and go into Vice King Requiem, you have to fire it there. And at that point, they can just normal summon an Unchained Twin and go into the Link 2.
Yep.
So
It's barely good against them. I mean, it stops High Wave King Caesar from coming out, but, like, they can just modulate their end board. It doesn't stop them, it just forces them to play differently. Same thing with me. Like, I can't make Bahamut Shark, but I'm still making
in that case, in that very one case, it's a 1-for-1. In that case,
Yeah,
that's the best
and
case
1-for-1
scenario in that deck.
I don't think a 1-for-1 trap card has been playable since a very long time.
Lab would like to talk with you about our compulses and our.
Well, that's
our
because
fun
they could
cards.
get those cards for free. I'm saying, like,
Exactly.
you wouldn't play compulsory in, like, every deck.
No, I agree with you completely. Generally speaking, just generally any deck, absolutely should and side D-barrier. It is an A tier side.
I agree. It feels bad to put it in average, to be honest. Like, I want to read out a chat though. What's up, Real Hidan with the Scythe? He says, "Hi, Droll and Lockbird side deck." So he's saying it should go into, I think, B tier.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Hedon.
Yeah. Not only did like one of the decks that lost to Droll just get completely outed by the ban list, but all the other decks that also lose to Droll got significantly powered down because they have a terrible Unchained matchup.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. Putting it to B tier. I agree with that
Is
last.
really that bad?
Not imagine a Manadium player being able to play going second through the Unchained board.
I guess when it comes to the top 2 decks, though, is Purrely that bad into Unchained?
I don't think so. I don't know. I really don't. I heard Unchained was made to counter Unchained, so yes, I think so.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's just a general question because I haven't played either side of that matchup, and any sort of testing whatsoever. So that's a complete toss-up right there. But I mean, Droll and Lock, fantastic against Purrely.
Do you think it's good against Purrely? I've heard it's not really that great against Purrely because they can just do all other stuff in draw phase.
Dude, it's so good against Purrely. You just if they do it in draw phase, you can just like say
You just cry.
yeah. If they do it, in their
kind of
draw
cope with it in draw phase, but like, there's definitely some players that won't do everything in draw phase.
I mean, yeah,
Sometimes they'll get a hand where they can't do everything in draw phase, so they just go stand by man.
Yeah, drolling them on my friend is like so insane.
if it's the first thing they did.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at. If they don't have any other things that they can do besides like normal summon Purrely or Purrely, if you droll them on either one of them, it's like essentially game over because you lock them out of getting a majority of their other cards. And if you can like Book of Moon the Rexese monsters like on the follow-up crackback, you just shut them out if you set up enough disruptions to break their board or stop them from playing. I'd say Droll is really good against Purrely, but at the moment that's kind of
I just have never had the situation running Droll this whole format where it was good against Purrely, so I'm gonna have to peacefully disagree on that. Like it's always they always do everything in draw phase, and by the time like it's just entirely useless. I don't know, like any good Purrely duelist will just do everything in draw phase. I mean, if they can, and then if not, it's like they get their one search, but they're still able to like do the noir play. I just like I think that's not the matchup decided in, but we'll go into. I mean, that's totally fair. We'll just keep in B tier. What do you guys feel? How do you guys feel about evenly matched? I think evenly.
Everyone else sides it. It's still good.
I think it's A tier, if not S, but I'd put it on A tier. I mean, honestly, I'm hearing it's not good against Unchained, but I'm thinking like it's probably S tier. I don't know. Like, don't you just want it to like break all these boards that have no negates?
No, the reason that it's not that great against Unchained is because they can just use the trap and break their board and banish very minimal cards. Kind of like how Salad does, where they
can just play off very minimal.
Where they just respond by raging their Link 4, and then on res they just like banish the rage and keep the Sanctuary on the field. Then they go Raging Phoenix 1, Gazelle in hand 2, and it's just like that evenly matched. Yeah, it got rid of the trap card, but you're now dealing with a 5600 beater with no battle phase and a Gazelle that's resetting the trap by sending Falco. Or in the worst case scenario, they activated Raw on that, meaning you have to have a second evenly matched. Otherwise, you just nuked your battle phase against the deck that thrives on you being able to not do anything before the battle phase. So how I'd say it is, in the case of Unchained, evenly matched is certainly a good card in which it forces out their interruptions, but in no way does it actually stop them from executing what they want to. It just forces them to do it.
I evenly it's just been always like the most pound for pound performing card in my side deck ever since I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh, basically since like the last year. I just like it's very much A tier. I would argue to put S tier, but I see the arguments for not putting an A tier because it doesn't do the job that you need it to against Some decks like Lab and what's its face, Lab and Unchained, it doesn't do the job, and same with Purrely. So
It does a lot against Lab. If the Lab player doesn't if you're going to game 2 and you are going second against Lab and you open that fucking card and they did not set a judgment, it is a tough time, man.
Even the IKEA version, though, because if it's the IKEA version, they did everything they needed to already.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I don't know. I feel like at this point, I feel like the card itself. Well, just assume that it's not good against Purrely. We know that, and it's subpar against Unchained. I mean, if IKEA Lab becomes the better performing Lab deck, again this format,
yeah, I was gonna say this right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's people are high on that version of Lab, but if everyone's more focused on Unchained and Purrely again, and Lab falls to the wayside, you can see the trap builds of Lab pop back up again. Because those are the better builds when it's unprepped for.
Agreed. That's why Dinkabui won the German Nats with it.
Absolutely. It can't be the best deck in a room. You cannot walk into a room and say Lab is the best deck, because if you're saying that and anybody else is thinking that, everyone else is prepped for it, and Lab is very preppable to play against deck. I would say that, though, the card itself, evenly matched, is good against probably 50% of your matchups in a tournament setting.
Yeah, so A tier, probably, yeah.
Yeah. Evenly matched is really good against decks where in game 2, if you only... How would I say this? Evenly matched is better at outing boards than most decks can in Engine. So it just serves as a functional replacement to your engine's ability to out their boards at the cost of your battle phase. Also, evenly matched is really good with the adventure engine because you could just Drake back the last card they have on their field.
How do we feel about skill drain? It's still pretty good. It's just like it's basically B tier, right? Matchup dependent or strong in the right deck.
Yeah, Lab flips skill drain on you. Good luck. Granted, that's like any deck that has like these big beaters is going to be good with skill drain. But that's the most prevalent deck that's going to use it. It's niche, so I would say it's B.
What about Phantasme?
Phantasme is good, but it's just one of those sideboard cards that's like tailor-made to shut off one it's kind of like Dimensional Barrier, but the exact opposite, because it's only good against link decks because it's the only way you can activate its effect. But against link decks, Phantasme has always been really good. It's just a question of, will the link decks, given a Rise Heart banning, be popular enough for it to be warranted as a mandatory slot in your sideboard? I don't know. Because, like, Manatium and Purrely are still running around, along with, like Labyrinth. So Phantasme is just kind of, like, terrible against those decks. But against, like, Rescue Ace, Marin Cess, Dragon Link, Dalamagrate, it definitely, like, serves really well in those decks, but the main problem that I'm seeing with it is, like, how much mileage can it get you? Because when looking at it from a perspective of how good the card is overall, it isn't that good. But when looking at it in the context of how good is it against specific decks, it definitely sounds way better than everything else that you could use. And I would probably put it at the bottom of A tier.
I was gonna say it's very much the bottom of A tier. Yes, thank you.
It has its points, but to be...
It's not B tier, but it can't be mained, and it's really bad against certain matchups. So
is unplayable in certain matchups, but in the matchups where you can use it, it's really, really good.
I think that targeting really does come up. It's great against Unchained. So yeah, we'll put in Bomb of A tier for sure. I should be ranking these, but I already put in the bottom. I have Droplet at the top of A tier, honestly. I think that's correct. And Nibiru probably too, top of A tier.
I'd say Nibiru is better than Droplet because Droplet requires something of you, while Nibiru requires something of your opponent.
I agree.
And your opponent is more likely to mess up their combo or not have setup to prevent playing Nibiru than you are to have actual cards you would want to get rid of to use Droplet. Also, Droplet requires your opponent to have something getting warranted. That's like warranted of being negated by Droplet. And there are some instances where you realistically only have one card type to send. So if your opponent has a response to it and you're not sending a monster, it's probably not doing anything at all besides eating up an interruption. While Nibiru does that, before your opponent gets a chance to either really get set up or it just forces out an interruption that you couldn't normally play with. Droplet does the same thing. It's just Droplet's really good in one card combo decks, while Nibiru is really good in basically anything.
Okay, then. That's a really fair point. Thank you. So, how do we feel about... We're going to go over the Bestials. Bestial Magnuma and Bestial Druid Swarm, I feel like, serve two different purposes, and Magnuma was very much the bane of everyone's existence since it came out, until, obviously, Tier got hit, and then it became the bane of branded players' existence. And then also just an amazing part of Dragon Link's combo. So, I'm going to say, like, where do those guys fall? I would say off the bat, Druid Swarm's like, I'm not gonna say it's S tier because it's not a dark meta, but I'd say it's around the mid range of A tier because of of its interaction with Link decks to just get around the High King or whatever just very easily. For Unchained and other decks. And like for that reason, I think Dragon Link's gonna be still very good. Like, you just have to play Thrust now. Just thrust out your Chaos Space. Also Magnuma I would put probably B tier because I think it's really only good in the because it's like, why are you searching out? You searching out Phantasma, it doesn't do a whole lot, and also I mean, you're going to be searching out the Druid Swarm, obviously, so, I mean, maybe they both go in the same tier. I just think, like, if you're talking about comparing the cards, Druid Swarm just does more, whereas, like, Magnuma did more previously.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. Like,
I just think, like...
Druid Swarm is, like, really just the new problem for Dragon Link, and by problem I mean problem you have to deal with, not problem in terms of it needs to be limited, because I think Magnuma and Chaos Space are like the only hits Dragon Link necessarily needs in the TCG. Magnuma's really good because it just searches out end pieces, follow up, whatever you need. If you are a Dragon Link player going first and you're going against Unchained and you search out a Phantasme with it because you don't have one initially, and then you summon the Phantasme and unbreak your hand into hand traps, the game is essentially yours. Druid Swarm is also really good against Unchained because of the floating effect. Super easy to trigger with like Erratic Seals effect. And it's also really good to just get off your field with like Branded Beast to like pop their Link 2. I'd agree with your rating on them, but I would move Druid Swarm a little bit higher up on the basis that its interaction against non-Unchained decks like Purrely, Rescue Ace. It's like really good against Rescue Ace because
he gets rid of their Bookman guy or the Hydrant.
Yeah, it can get rid of their Book of Moon guy, it can get rid of their field spell, it can get rid of any of the back row they still have on their field.
It's a special summon monster it gets rid of. From the extra deck
Jurisform?
Jurisform, I thought.
No.
It's a special summon monster. I believe. Target one special summon monster your opponent controls sends to the graveyard.
Oh, okay, so it can't hit any card, okay.
Yep.
So it can get rid of the Unchained Link 2, it can get rid of any of the Rescue Aces that special summon themselves, and get rid of any Purreleys. It's
Except
also
for the
really good at
unaffected
making-
ones.
Yeah, well, obviously, but it's just Jurisform is really good. Your placement's correct, and yeah.
Ghost Ogre. How do we feel about Ghost Ogre? Also, where's Sam? Is Sam still here?
He's in the bathroom.
Okay.
Ghost Ogre is just like kind of a meme.
I feel like it's bad. Like that's our first bad like F tier.
Ghost Ogre had its format 5 months ago.
Yeah, it just doesn't do enough in this format, unfortunately.
Yeah, the one
It'll
for one
return,
exchange-
obviously. So I mean, go ahead
Yeah,
and buy
one
your
day.
Ghost Ogres as they fall in price now, guys. Like,
Yeah.
everything cycles. Let's be real. So it'll
Yeah.
be good again one day. This format, I wouldn't count on it. I mean, it depends if we're talking like this format just before Agov, just before Age of Overlord. I don't think it's great. Age of Overlord comes, we can possibly retalk that. OCG hasn't seen much success with Horus, but it seems applicable against Horus itself. The sarcophagus it pops,
Mhm.
so it's pretty good. But once again, I mean, that's on turn 0. That's like them going first, you going second application, and that's it during Age of Overlord. That's not like a right now problem. That's a problem for future us.
Okay. Yeah, no, for sure. How do we feel about? Sorry, go on.
Ghost Ogre just has 2 little good targets where its effect will actually benefit you. Not negating is just like kind of bad. Like it's only realistically good against like continuous spells and field spells now. And that's just too little of a niche case. Like at that point, like yeah, turn 0 Ghost Ogre against those cards is really good, but if you're going first, I'd rather just play Cosmic because it's better overall.
So here's an interesting one. Now that Arise Heart's gone, and we can use like certain cards, like I think Valor, can you even use under Arise Heart? Like it has to be sent to the graveyard, right? Or is that?
You can't do
yeah.
effect.
So how do we feel about Valor and like Ghost Mourner and Gamma at that point? Gamma, I would probably put under bad just because of the one of.
Gamma's bad on the basis that its ratios lead to inconsistency. You have the same chance of drawing it as you do Driver, but if you draw Gamma and not Driver, it's like really good, but I wouldn't count on that in your sideboard unless you're like the most insane person ever. Valor and Ghost Mourner, they're good, it's just they both serve 2 different purposes. Valor is just like the 1-for-1 negation that you bring in to stop your opponent from doing something, while Ghost Mourner is the 1-for-1 negation that threatens time. So, how I would go about it is I'd say that, like, they're good, but generic, better board breakers and cards that you can use to stop your opponent from going second entirely are, like, significantly better.
Okay. Yeah, no, for sure. So wait, do we put that under A tier or B tier then?
I agree.
Yeah. Both of them? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, on the Valor point, like, Valor is just a super niche. Like, there's only niche cases where it's better than Imperm, right? It confides you to your opponent's main phase. The only bonus it really has is that you can control things with it, as where Imperm you can't. But on the flip side, with Imperm, like turn 0, you're against Purrely, you can still activate it during standby phase, so that's kind of fun. During draw phase as well. So a worse imperm that's only better than imperm in niche cases?
Lilex, I would go check out some of my other deck profiles for branded if you'd like direction on how to play that type of branded Despia. Lulu and Tri-Brigade are pretty cheap, so I'd recommend getting them if you want to play the Nadirs, but I would also just go to my latest deck profile where you don't really even have to play those cards, so definitely you have options otherwise. But we're right now talking about the ban list. I'm going to try to stay on topic for that, but definitely go under like my most popular videos and you'll find some of the Despia deck profiles and you'll get a lot of direction from those. So how do we feel about Change of Heart? And at that point, we're also going to go into Triple Tactics, Talents, and Thrust. But Change of Heart has seen a lot of play because of Unchained being able to just take their monster, their High King Caesar, or even their Link monster to just link off. I think I might like branded as a branded player. I can't see myself running it because I can't link off with it. But like Kyle or Sam, like I feel like that card is pretty good against Unchained for you guys, especially if you ran Thrust, and I know you do run Thrust, Kyle.
I think Thrust is really good in this format, specifically because it can either set up your engine or set up your sideboard blowout cards like D-Barrier or Evenly Matched. Change of Heart and Triple Tack in terms of stealing your opponent's monster, specifically against Unchained, is worse than Marionette might because that point of interaction just allows them to pop off instantly because you're putting a card on your field.
So you think Marionette might is better in that matchup?
In that matchup, yes, but then again, it's like Phantasme, but way worse because it sucks against everything else. Unchained is just one of those decks where if you know you're walking into either your locals, regionals, Nats, or a YCS and you're going to see it, I would recommend that you at least consider it in your sideboard. But at the current moment, in terms of Triple Tack and Change of Heart, I'd say Change of Heart is fine for your sideboard. Like, if you can get rid of the opponent's monster freely, then yeah, it's going to be really good. But if you can't and you don't get rid of it during the end phase, then that monster better be the best thing your opponent has, because if it just doesn't force out interruption, then it's kind of just like a waste of a card. And Triple Tack is Change of Heart, but a little bit more restrictive, but way more versatile.
I think Triple Tack Talents is an S tier, and I think Triple Tack Thrust is an S tier.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll put Change of Heart. I would put Change of Heart in the middle of A tier. It's fine. It's just specific decks get more mileage out of it, and it won't be an end-all, be-all sideboard include that you'll want to bring in against a majority of matchups. But for the matchups where you know that you're going to want it, it's really good.
So what is better, Triple Tactics, Talents, or Thrust, or does it really even matter with both of them at 3?
Thrust searches Talents, so Thrust is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time I hear people say Talents is better, I'm like, have you ever run Thrust?
Thrust is any card in your
Ash is the best monster, Imperm is the best trap, Thrust is the best spell. JK, the best spell is Painful Choice, but you know, Thrust is broken.
Ash stocks went up the roof when Thrust became a mainstay in all these decks, too.
Yep. Yeah, I'd agree with those statements. I would definitely put both of those in S tier. They're both fantastic cards. They're, once again, always gauge your locals and your regionals accordingly. However, they absolutely should be considered or almost always played inside your side deck if your deck can afford to play them. Going back to Effect Failure, I think Effect Failure, or not Effect Failure, Change of Heart is low A?
I was going to say low A, too, because, like, I'm very much, like... Because I even heard... It is the reason why Pac won his game against Jesse Cotton top 4, but, like, it's very much a power card in, I feel like, the mirror match more than anything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just like how it was in a toss format. Everyone was on 3 mind control on the sideboard, because if you ever came on the mirror, you just won.
I'm gonna put Marionette Might under matchup dependent, but like I'm very much. I wanted to also say Lilac said Lightning Storm in the side or Cosmic Cyclone. Yeah, like we put both of those cards in A tier. I think they are great in the main I mean, it's mainly they're great in the side. Like they very much warrant their place in the side.
It depends on what you're looking to beat, because like if you're looking to beat combo boards, then cards like Lightning Storm and Evenly Matched are going to be like really good. But like if you're looking to beat back row decks, you don't need to necessarily. It depends on the deck, obviously, but like IKEA Lab, do they play any floodgates at all?
They can side them in,
Okay.
and sometimes they play like one skill drain. Like I know that's what Partho
Okay.
was on.
Yeah, but like you don't need to wipe away all the lab back row then. You just need to wipe away the one floodgate then.
Because they can just prosperity or rip off the top with Bumblebee.
Yeah. Yeah, Wannabe's a fucked up card.
Yeah.
Do you play it?
I absolutely do play Wannabe. And I play
Okay,
Wannabe
alright,
in both versions of Lab, whether I'm playing IKEA or whether I'm on Unga Bunga Trap Lab.
I just think that they 100% like A tier is gonna like even if they aren't main deckable, there are some cards that are so good in the side. It's like an S tier card in the side, but it's like bad in the main, so it warrants the A tier.
If you're looking to beat Unchained, Cosmic Cyclone wins over pretty much every single back row removal card.
Yep.
Besides like Evenly, but Evenly doesn't deal with the rank 6, so like I don't know. Again, it's like what your deck can do through their end board, and then like how you can mitigate what the rest of their end board does. It's very deck specific. Like in Marincess, I can generally play through like 3 disruptions just fine. So I don't need to like wipe away everything they have. I just need to snipe the one thing with Cosmic Cyclone, and I also have like Cheng Ying synergy with Cosmic Cyclone there. That's kind of funny. I mainly just prefer the quick play speed of it because I lose to anti-spell.
I'm also putting anti-spell in B tier because I think D-barrier being searchable off thrust makes it a bit better.
Yeah, this is the time where normal traps are better than continuous traps. It feels bad though because like
it also locks you.
I don't know. Anti-spell seems like it's so busted against purely, but at the same time they can literally just chain all of their quick play spells. Oh wait, never mind. They can't chain their quick play spells to it.
Yeah, they can.
Can
They
they?
can chain to its
Oh wait,
You ab-
yeah, they can chain the activation.
You absolutely
that's right.
can chain.
Okay, so yeah,
Activation.
terrible against purely, right?
It's
Or
fine
is it
if they
like-
don't open quick plays, so just cross your fingers and hope. Like-
They run pretty much every quick play they can at 3, right?
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
like what, 4 different quick plays?
Yeah, so they play a total
Would you
of
pretty good
10
with
quick plays, I believe.
Pretty? Yeah. That's crazy.
It's
yeah,
10 quick
anti-spell
plays, so
is
the chances that they don't open at least one of the quick plays or multiple quick plays in the opening hand is a little bit lower. But
I've seen Nikki open a grip of 5 quick plays before. I'm like, stop.
yeah, I mean, it still has uses for sure against that type.
Right. Well,
but-
I'm just saying, like, because purely is like so spell heavy, I figured anti-spell might be decent, but they're all quick plays, so then.
Yeah, I mean the best thing against purely is just a Santa Claus or a kaiju right on top of Noir.
Or
Or if you're playing Lab, just search a nice chain disappearance and put all the cats in the banish zone.
Yeah, chain disappearance is a good one. I mean, if you're going first against them, you could also set up like a spell block between like Nat Beast or like some sort of spell canceller bullshit.
Yeah. Obviously, these are all like niche examples, right? But
Right.
if we're simply
like-
talking just anti-spell, I would say anti-spell is at the very bottom of A, or at
Oh,
the
really?
very top of B.
Yeah, okay, I
Yeah,
agree.
It's very good, but it's also very situational. Like you're not going to bring it in against everything, and so it's taking up precious side deck slots. At that
We'll put it at the top of B. We'll put it over Ultimate Slayer because I feel like Ultimate Slayer and the books are at the top of B. Even I feel like the books actually are probably just like objectively at the top of B, because they can be really good against Purrely, right? They are very good against Purrely.
I like Book of Moon as well. It kind of is like literally bad against Unchained, like, but it could also flip down the rank 6.
Is it time to invest in an ultimate playset of branded fusions? That's a good question. Now that it did not get hit on the ban list,
No.
I would probably. I mean, like, the thing is, it's been floating at $50 for. We'll do an impromptu market watch for this one branded fusion because it's ban list related. I do think that it is gonna probably stick at round 50. It might go up depending though if branded starts becoming like the second best deck, which it very much can in this context.
I'm just gonna tell you right now. With a card like branded fusion being over centralizing, like as over centralizing as it is, I really don't imagine branded getting any better than it already is.
What I'm saying
Like,
is like with a
that's
ban
gonna
list,
come
it
out
steps
there.
up.
Well, I mean, obviously, like the gimmick lock is still like an existent thing, but
I just thought it would be the best deck without a Rise Heart, so we're gonna see if that ends up becoming the play. We'll see, dude, because it has an amazing Unchained matchup. Mirjade and Rinbrum go. Yes, Mirjade and Rinbrum go hard.
oh yeah, because they're non-destruction removal. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that, but don't you just lose when you go second?
Yes. Without hand traps, yes, that is true.
Literally.
Unless you have Lost. If you have Lost plus like Super Poly, and he has to have like a correct board to Super Poly, and you have to have like a fusion deployment or an Albaz, which I did not going second against Unchained. My round 1 regional, I got 2-0'd by him because I drew Super Poly and he had a board that was unsuper polyable and I had no Albaz. So speaking of Super Poly, where does Super? Oh, so I would say Lilex, if you want, it will probably not go down from here because the OTS packs, we're gonna get a new OTS actually fairly soon. Once AGOV comes out in a month, so they're gonna go up from there, especially with no ban list. So you probably should just pull the trigger if you can find a deal right now.
At least, if not right now, before the next OTS pack comes out, because that's when branded fusion ultimate price is going to go up because it'll stop seeing print.
Yes, and also next ban list, branded fusion could very much be on the menu. So if you want to get
That's
it
true.
to play, I would
It's a
get it
risky
sooner
investment.
than later.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you guys talk about Super Poly as I go use the bathroom, but you guys as the branded player, I'm biased. So what do you guys think of Super Poly? Is it over? Because Jesse Cotton had it on he had it on like B tier. He didn't think it was very good because it's not very good against Unchained. But
I mean,
every other
it's
matchup
not that-
IMO, it's great. Also,
it's
be
not
right back.
just that it's not just that it's like not good against Unchained. That card hasn't been particularly insane since it's been unbanned, right?
Tier
Like
mirrors.
it's been like a decent board breaker, but it's always been behind Dark Ruler no more, right?
It was insane in the tier mirror for sure.
Okay, but like, don't bring up the tier mirror because that's the exception, not the rule. Come on, that's not normal Yu-Gi-Oh. We weren't playing normal Yu-Gi-Oh then.
No,
I mean,
we're rolling
arguably
dice,
we're playing
man.
less. Arguably, we're playing less normal Yu-Gi-Oh now, but like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I would agree with the Jesse Cotton assessment. Then I think it's definitely
fine.
It's
I think it's very good and branded. That's about it right now.
In any deck that can use it, like.
It's not generic because some decks were just running it when you shouldn't be. Like the deck should not have been running this card.
I think the most interesting sighting of it was definitely it's awesome playing some lab decks. Some lab decks even named it because
that's where I thought was semi okay, but not really even.
What the fuck's like an extra deck in lab, right? It's
well, not only that. Wouldn't you want like all of your interruptions, if possible, to be normal traps?
That's the thing. You are getting rid of a lot of your resources, which you already have to discard a lot to get the IKEA pieces. So, also, what's up? We have 6 viewers. Like, if you guys have banlist takes, let us know in the chat. But yeah, no, I think it's probably just B tier. Good in what's good.
Yeah, like it's nothing broken. It can feel insane.
Middle B tier.
Objectively, it's a good card.
It's matchup dependent. That's the issue too.
Very matchup dependent.
Like, if you run into Salad and they end on Raging Phoenix, Super Poly is terrible. Because
It
they
can
only
be
have...
fine.
It can be fine, but...
You just have to see an Albaz at that point if you're playing branded.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, like, Super Poly and generic decks, like Labyrinth.
I think Rescue Ace sides it too.
Rescue
Because they're already playing Mud Dragon with the Proxy F stuff. Maybe they decide it.
Hey Kyle, look at the stream in a minute. You're gonna see a very funny image of Salaman Great of Fire selling for $40 on TCG Player.
What?
I'm checking it right now.
Bro,
I'm checking it right now.
that is not real.
That is real. It's real. Salad hype is real, folks. See, this is what I'm talking about, Kyle. We need to get that deck profile.
God,
we
bro.
need to get that deck profile. That shit's nuts.
Incline on the price, dude.
It's like-
oh shoot.
Bro! Salad to the moon.
I'll fine.
That is hilarious.
I'll give a deck list. I'm okay with that.
Hell yeah, brother. We want to do it tonight? I can come out.
You gotta do it in the
Uh,
short form content where you just throw the cards on the table and the amount of the cards you're playing. So, like, you toss the 3 Gazelles on the table, you say 3, spinny, 3, circle. Like, I don't know if you've seen that in the content.
3. It's just a short.
one.
It's just a short.
The branded extra deck profiles, like the Chimera ones, it's so good because, like, you hear the main deck and it's like 3, 3, 3.
Yup.
1, 1, and then the extra deck is just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. It's so funny.
Oh, Salad, dude. Salad is going to be so good because no one's on Droll right now, honestly. I think Salad actually very much has a has a spot in the meta.
Anymore? No one's on Droll anymore?
No one's on Droll anymore.
My sign-up minings feel so free now.
Yup. That's why I think
Thank
Mana has
God.
a good spot in the meta right now as well.
Yeah, because that's why I think Droll will stay in the sideboard because of decks like Salad and Marincess and Manatium. But aside from that,
Yeah, but the
it's
thing is,
okay.
if Droll is a sideboard card, you don't really want to have to side roll. Like, I feel like there are better cards to answer their end board rather than, like,
yeah, like Book of
that
Moon.
can answer more end boards than just Manatium, Marincess, and Salad.
Yeah,
Raging
Book of Moon,
Phoenix is on buyout, going up to $20.
Hell yeah,
Hell
that
yeah,
card's
I can't-
busted.
dude! Now I'm ready to offload my extra copies to Genesis.
Dude, that
I was
card's
about
insane.
to say, like, wow, so if you didn't get your Salad stuff now, I feel bad.
Honestly, bro, like,
Wait,
when I
wait,
first...
there's one thing, Chris. Check Ghost Wolves.
Oh God, bro, I'm sorry for you, bro.
No,
They're 60. They're 60. They aren't moving.
Oh, that's,
They aren't moving.
that's $10 above what they were. Good. Okay. Cool.
There's a lot of sales today though. There's a lot of sales. It's gonna go.
Good.
I would talk to Mark sooner than later. He would probably
No, he's gonna keep them. Trust me, I already told him. He's
I know, but like if you want to make a deal before it goes up in price, I would.
Oh God, yeah, obviously. Oh yeah, sure.
Like I would just off.
I'll let Mark know. I'll
Yeah.
let him know.
So yeah, a little market watch on the side, folks. But let's get back into it. How do we feel about DD Crow?
Solid card. Not the best, not the worst. If you don't want to play Bestials, but you want to disrupt the graveyard, it's the absolute next best thing. Some would argue better.
I would argue it's around the bottom of B tier personally, but I think the decks that need to run it for the matchups, like I understand.
You're just salty from our match. You want to forget that I stacked you.
Sam, that was even sacking. That was just like you turned into the Pharaoh and fucking hard of the cards.
That was the S tier Crow right there. People who are watching the stream right now, when you're done,
Go watch the stream. Yeah.
Yeah, go watch the other stream. Chris and I had a nail biter in game 3.
It's the last local stream. It was an amazing last game, and he just like ripped at Crow. Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I'd say Crow's like alongside Phantasme.
Yeah, like it can be good. It's matchup dependent. I personally play it though.
We
I
put
still think it's a great
Phantasme. We put Phantasme in A tier. I'm putting Crow in B tier, but like it's up. If you think it's A tier, I could put a bit more up on B tier. I just like, it's like
I could put it in the middle of B tier. Like it's not the absolute best option to have, but it is still a good card. It's very versatile. That's what I like about it. Very versatile. There's so many decks that it just poops on.
So yeah.
Inadvertently, too, which is great because no one's gonna expect Crow. Is it good against Unchained? I'd imagine it's pretty good against Unchained.
Yes, it's okay, but like it's not gonna stop their turn. It's not gonna be enough for like the card investment.
I'm just saying, if it can stop them from making the rank 6, then maybe I can play, and me playing is enough to win.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Hell yeah, brother. How do we feel about Eradicator Epidemic Virus, the subject of everyone's fervor in the Nats season this last year because there were multiple finals with Erad just gang for 4.
What did Erad ever do?
Sack for 4 in the finals of 2 Nats.
Okay, but like...
I'm not saying that warrants a ban. I'm just saying that's what it did.
How did they get to Erad, though? Did they open it, or did they search it off the big lady?
They opened it.
Didn't the one guy Prosperity? like this is why Prosperity should have been on the list. If anything was missing, it was Prosperity. I'm sorry, but that shit is broken.
Don't you think Lab would just play Duality in its place, though?
I don't.
No,
let them. Let them. Like,
sorry,
please don't do that.
Like play extravs. I don't care. Like ripping 6 for free. It's nuts.
It's not free, brother.
It is basically free. It's in the decks that run it. It's free.
The decks that run it are not doing the same things that you are.
Correct.
Like, there aren't combo decks that are like shitting out their whole extra deck, and then at the end of their combo Prosperity the rest of it away. That's just bad. Like the decks that can afford to play cards like Prosperity and Extravagance should be able to. It's just like Prosperity is a little like insane. I do understand where you're coming from. 6 is a lot.
It's just, man, I've played this whole meta, and like the fact that they can just dig on their turn and get literally anything. Like they always just rip the D barrier or the D shifter or something. It's just like,
yeah, but that
it's so free.
It comes at a deck building cost, though.
No, it doesn't. How does it? It makes your deck 37 cards instead of 40.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, dude. If you don't see the Prosperity, you might as well not even like hope to see it.
Okay, yeah, I'm playing Cash before the ban list. It's okay if I don't see Prosperity as long as I see Engine.
I played it in Dinomorphia. The only reason I saw Prosperity half the time was because I saw it off Duality as well. Like, I mean, Prosperity is an excellent card to like throw at the end of using up your opponent's hand traps or interruptions on board. Because, yeah, it can just get you the one card that just absolutely wins you the game. But, like, that's not Prosperity's fault. Prosperity is only as good as the cards you find off it. Because, like, if you ever brick off Prosperity, you do just lose the game.
Dark Ruler No More. Dark Ruler No More I felt like was really good in Kashtira format. At least in the Nats format, because you were able to just like it was a lot of big boards that you could just like clear out with Dark Ruler, especially with Super Heavy. But like I think the decks have started to fall off, especially with Kashtira, and like it's good against Unchained though, right? Like you Dark Ruler their board, it's like cool. But then it's like they still have like the Shivara or whatever to still pop, so it's like
they have the
it's like I think it's I think it's bad. Like I frankly think it's bad.
I think it's worse than Droplet, but it's still good.
I think it's like the bottom of B tier, but I don't know.
I think it's better than Eclipse at least. Like, come on.
I do think it probably got better with the ban list because maybe there will be decks that just like these other decks. So. And, like, it's always going to be that card. Yeah. So, I would put it at the top of B tier. It probably does warrant that.
Dark Ruler is an excellent card still.
Yeah. Randomly fucks King Calamity.
D Shifter. Y'all know it was coming. Y'all know it was coming.
That tells you how good I think the card is. Why is it still legal?
It got way worse, though, with Kashtira being bad now. Like, Kashtira will not be a deck, in my opinion. It won't be a deck going forward. But we'll see. Let's just say...
That's not an opinion to have. You can claim that as objective fact. It's okay.
Yeah. So, it's not like...
Flame you in the comments.
I don't think it's gonna be like tier
Here's my
limit.
question. Who's gonna play the deck? Like, who's gonna play that? Exo Sister?
What?
Flu?
Oh, yeah, it's just flu in Exo. And Exo was already actually pretty okay last format. My boy Steven Santoli always destroying events with that deck, but I think Rescue Ace is just like a better deck than that. Like for what you're trying to do, I think Rescue Ace is better for that purposes. And like
Exo has a chance to be really good depending on how the other graveyard decks in the meta are, because like it might just have a ridiculous Unchained matchup. Who knows?
that would be interesting.
Who knows? Because Unchained, they banished the Link 2 from the grave. They special summoned the level 6 from grave. The level 3 Dark Twins adds a card from grave to hand. The trap specials from deck or grave. If they don't have the card that they want in their deck and it's only in their graveyard, that triggers it.
I'm putting it at the top of A because in the deck,
from deck or grave as well. I
w-
think Exorcist might actually have a decent Unchained matchup. It's just you have to be like a great Exosister pilot to beat the great Unchained pilots. If anyone wants to like theorycraft on Dueling Book about like, or rather test how Exosister does against Unchained, that'd be sick.
Yeah, I would like to know.
I'm testing how Horus fits into everything.
my boy Glenn finally getting his pet deck. I can't wait for you. I hope it connects the old Horus cards so you can play them.
It absolutely does not. In no way, shape, form, or another does it even remotely come close to the level 4, level 6, or level 8 Horus.
Tikaboo. Discuss.
It's in the same spot as Rivalry and Gozen and Skill Drain. You can just
let's
throw
do them all.
at the bottom of the
Okay.
tier.
Yeah.
Randomly, I found out that it can be played with the Horus deck.
Yeah, there can be only one fits in the Horus deck as well.
So,
They're all
I think
different things.
Tikaboo's a little bit better though. I think Tikaboo goes, or I mean, like
But the
because
thing
it's
is,
like
the decks that can play Tikaboo.
I think Tikaboo's at least A personally.
All of them are at least an A. It's just where they are in A. I understand that Tikaboo is better than those cards, but like they're all insane.
Yeah, I'll put Skill Drain in A, and then Tikaboo, and then goes in.
They can go at the bottom of A, but they don't belong in B. Those cards are insanity.
yeah, Tikaboo just randomly wins matchups. And I mean, like, the Horus
All of
stuff,
them do.
as it stands right now, is just like an engine, but like, guess what else is an engine? Kashtira Fenrir, and Diabell Star, like,
Yeah,
with good
but
hand
the thing
traps.
is, like, this gets you rank 8s, so like maybe you could like make.
I'm putting a
Probably
grave
both
of the ancient organism down there too.
That's fine.
No,
It's really good against branded. Really good against branded. It's a turn skip against. It's basically game against
yeah,
branded.
but like the thing is, like,
Well,
is it
that's
good
why-
against anything else.
There's other decks that can go into things that are above level 6. So I think like it's like the application, right? Like Tikaboo's not good against certain decks. It is against. It's like the same thing. It's the same idea.
Yeah, but like the thing is, like Tikaboo casts such a wider net than Grave of the Super Ancient Organism, considering that there's like Xyz and Link.
But when branded's like the third most topping deck, I think it
Wouldn't
warrants
you
that.
rather wouldn't
Yeah,
you
I
rather
mean-
just play like non-fusion area?
I've lost against that card. No, because it covers. It covered Kashtira.
It covers multiple things. Like, it'll cover
Yeah,
the Horus
that's
engine,
fair.
it'll cover Kashtira Fenrir, it covers the big,
Rescue
it covers
Ace.
the two big lab monsters, it covers Rescue Ace, it covers Branded. Like,
But
it's
are you
it's
really willing to put Grave of the Super Ancient Organism in your side deck just to deal with one monster that multiple decks play?
Yes.
People would agree, but no.
I mean,
I don't know if it's correct.
Is
well, because like
good. It definitely like is horrible against the Link decks, but yeah, I'd say it stays at A tier. It definitely has its applications, but with Cash being out of the meta, it might not be the best card in your sideboard, or even the first choice that I would make when creating a sideboard, but it definitely has its spot in sideboards.
I think the crazy thing about Super Ancient Organism is that the perceived top 2 decks, it's not good against for the most part. Like, it doesn't do really anything against Unchained, right? Like, yeah, they have
It
a
could
couple
stop them from
level
making
6s,
the
but
win.
like, does it really hinder
Yeah.
them that much? But on top of that, it doesn't do anything against Purrely. But then I feel like after that, it's a severe, like a stark increase in every other deck that can contend, plus most rogue decks. Like,
I understand that. Like, it absolutely dunks on Hero, that's for sure.
yeah.
But like,
Yeah, I mean, if
there are
you
so
want to
many
like just
other
randomly
cards-
shit on rogue decks, just flip that.
sorry,
And granted,
Fire
like your deck also has to be your deck has to be able to play around with that. So like if you're playing a link deck yourself, if you're playing the Salad or the
Yeah, like, I could play
Maritha, yeah, like you guys can play it and stuff like that.
I don't-
Exosucer
Ah!
can play it.
I don't think I would play it though, because I played Azurine with Cheng Yang.
By the way,
Play it.
Sprite's gonna be insane now. Can we just all agree on that? Like, I mean, I don't know.
Sprites? I don't think Sprite.
Runic Sprite will not be as long as Unchained's around, but like I think
Talk to me in a couple months when they get that. They're getting some of those new fishes.
oh
Some,
god,
white fishes.
the Dolphins.
Yeah, the white aura cards.
Yeah, those white fishes are going to be pretty good sprite cards.
All right, Div Incarnate. Where do we put that now? Because Div Incarnate was insane for kashtira, but I already feel like it was somewhat falling off last format. So I'm
It's
inclined.
one of the best rule breakers. Card's insane.
Yeah, like
Hear me out. Normal summon Sangan. Link
What?
into
Hold up.
I'll be right back.
Kurikara.
That's
Special
like I
Kurikara.
gotta go. You mentioned Sandgan. No, I get it.
Kurikara is great. It's such a good card.
Oh my god, everyone
Definitely.
is like Banlist is bad, honestly, on my...
It-
Well,
No,
except for
it's
Josh Schmidt! Except for, I agree with Josh Schmidt, but like, yeah, Jeff Jones, Triff even said it was shit, like, a lot of people from locally. I do like it, personally. Like, if you like the format, I think you'll like the list, and I did enjoy the
But I
format.
didn't like the format.
Exactly, like,
It's been terrible for the past like year and a half, honestly.
I think that's because of the general Yu-Gi-Oh! Systemic issues, you know, that they would
It
need
all
a more...
started with the adventure engine.
No, it actually.
What
It's
are you
literally
talking about? Before that, we had like Link FTK shit. I mean, obviously there's Toss, but
No, we did not. No, we did not. You know what we had before the adventure engine?
Toss,
No.
PK.
Well, yes, but it wasn't the best. What we did have was full power virtual world and
Oh
full
my
power
God.
Drytron.
I don't think anyone. Dude, what? No one likes Drytron
Yeah.
format.
But
No
here's the
one.
thing, Here's the thing.
No
I'm not
one.
saying I like that format, but our return to fair Yu-Gi-Oh from that format was the pushed as shit adventure engine, and it's been a design trend ever since.
Are you saying that Drytron's fair?
No, I'm saying our return to fair Yu-Gi-Oh from Drytron and Virtual World needed the adventure engine because it was just that insane, and a ban list because fuck VFD, fuck Ava, and like Union Carrier and all that bullshit. But yeah, like our return to fair Yu-Gi-Oh was so monstrously pushed compared to the previous cards. Like, ugh.
I'm putting Div Incarnate in A tier.
Yeah, card's broken.
I agree.
It's insanity.
Definitely not a biased salad player speaking. That card's insane.
I have at the bottom of A tier, but it could go up, I think, depending on how it shapes up the format. And I think it's one of those cards that's, if you're playing it into the right matchup, you will greatly benefit no matter what. It's been good since tier format.
Yeah, card's excellent.
Let's just go over a few quick. Kaiju's Lava Golem and Sphere Mode. I think Sphere Mode is bad. I think Kaiju's are average.
Kaijus are always going to be either middle of the road or insane. Right now, it feels like they're middle of the road only because they were insane when a Rise Heart was around. But I mean, if purely isn't going to be super insane and decks are going to end on multi-monster boards, I think Lava Golem's probably your best bet for board breaking, like in that cheese way. But if you have to have your normal summon, then Kaijus are obviously the only thing you can use, or Kurikara if you have it.
I think in the right deck also Lava Golem is very good, so I'd put it in B tier alongside
Lava
Kaijus.
Golem is absolutely insane in Dark World.
So I would
so
actually
great.
I'm like almost inclined to put it in bottom of A tier Lava Golem. Like the right deck will abuse the crap out of that card. Like purrely it's great in too because you don't need your normal.
Unchained can also use it, although it's not super insane because they do want a normal summon tour guide. Some builds of Unchained before the new cards were playing Dark Spirits Mastery, as well as like Dark World builds before used to play Dark Spirits Mastery. It searches any level 8 fiend, so you could search Lava Golem if you wanted.
Okay, so we got those out of the way. I think Deck Lockdown is an interesting tech choice that's coming up.
That card is hilarious. I love Deck Lockdown.
I think
so
Jesse Cotton has it really good on his. He said that he needs more testing, but he thinks it's going to be really good.
I just got to read this card one more time.
I'm just inclined to put it in like something average.
This card is insane against Unchained, bro. Oh my god.
Okay, explain for the crowd.
Monsters cannot be special summoned from the main deck.
Oh.
Neither player can add cards from their deck to their hand except by drawing them.
Okay, I'm picking that at the top of I need to get copies of that.
This card is insane right now, dog.
Damn.
Wow.
Okay, we're putting that at the top of A tier for now.
Yeah, that's a great card against Unchained. Holy.
Xyz Encore. I've never been a fan of this card. Even like it's okay against Purrely, but like not even. I mean, it is,
I would
but
rather Kaijus because the Kaijus just deal with way more end wards.
yeah, I'm putting it in average, like maybe the top of average, because I've seen good players run. I'll put below like Book of Moon. I've seen good players run it and like co-sign for it. I don't like the fact you give them back their monsters and they get a plus off
There are better
that.
cards you can run in its place. That makes
Yeah.
me want to place it really low.
We'll go with Contact C. I've never been a fan of Contact C because like most decks just run outs. So I'm putting that under bad.
The only deck that I would ever consider running Contact C in is like B Trooper because you can search it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I know. But like even then a lot of the time the B Trooper end boards are just like Scary Moth, so that's already a floodgate. You don't need Contact C at that point.
Yo, we love Scary Moth. Shout out Eric. Hopefully we'll see him again one day.
Yeah, I was gonna say I need to lose to Scary Moth again.
I think Imperm's bad right now.
Imperm is crazy, bro.
Jesse Cotton has it under bad. He has it at the top of bad, but
that card is timeless, bro.
I just think like it doesn't do enough, and I've been testing with Imperm, and I agree. I think it's the least performing hand trap of them all. You can always play around it or like play through it for the most part, like most of the decks. So
well, that's why you use it as a board breaking tool.
I just think it's like really below average. I won't say it's bad. I just think it's below, or I think it's average.
It just feels bad because Impermanence is like the best trap card. It's one of them.
I think it got worse because now Cash isn't going to be a thing. But Cash could already play through it. I think Called By also, I don't think Called By is that great right now. Like, you kind of need to break boards, and going second, it doesn't do a whole lot for that reason. I think it's side deckable, but for that, I think it's kind of bad. Like, side decking one card.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really need your cards to matter right now, and it doesn't do anything going second.
Yeah, no, I understand the card quality debate with that card. I understand.
Dark Hole and Raigeki. Or they could be
Dark
separate.
Hole's way better than Raigeki.
I was going to say, so like, Raigeki's probably just bad.
Yeah.
Dark Hole, I would argue, is at like the top of average.
It's a good card. It's a good board breaker. The fact that it can situationally wipe off like an Ibli or just maybe a Roth Disciple or like some other monster. It's always good to get those shits off your field. Maybe you get hit by the fabled Acid Golem of Destruction with no materials. You need to kill your field.
I really need to use the bathroom again because I have a small bladder, but I want you guys to discuss Herald of the Abyss, Skullmeister, and Summon Limit.
Well, unfortunately for this discussion, I do have to get going. I have to work. Glenn, it was great talking with you.
Oh, bye.
I hope to see you soon.
We love you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, Sam.
I gotta go. Yeah.
In terms of
Thanks for watching, guys.
This will be as a podcast, so yeah.
See ya.
Bye.
So what cards did you say again, Chris?
Summon Limit. Summon Limit. We'll go with Ghost Bell. I know it was a different card, and Herald of the Abyss.
Herald of the Abyss is like mid. It's not even actually no. I just say it's bad. It's just way too inconsistent of a board breaker, and it's really only good against like Purrely. Ghost Bell is fine. It can stop a good amount of the Unchained interactions because some of them summon or add from deck or graveyard, and it also takes out Branded. Man, why can't I remember the third card? I'm sorry, guys. Now I just kind of feel bad.
It was Summon Limit.
Oh, Summon Limit.
Or no, it was
Summon
Herald of the Abyss, but we can also do Summon Limit.
I already talked about Herald.
Oh, where did you put Herald? I think Herald's A tier for Purrely, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Phantasme, where it's like really good in one matchup, but then again, Evenly is like just Herald, but better for everything else. Ghost Bell is good. It's good against Unchained. It's good against Salad and Marincess and all the other graveyard decks that just like cheesing. And then Summon Limit, I'd say Summon Limit is pretty good, but like
I think it's like average, right?
like
right next to Anti-Spell.
Yeah, I'd put it right next to Anti-Spell. It's really good against decks where it like completely closes out the game, but against decks that can either play around it, play through it, play past it, or break it before it has a chance to affect the game state in a meaningful way, it's not doing anything. It's not proactive. It's reactive.
We are running, or yeah, and where did we put Ghost Bell? I think Ghost Bell's not really worth it, but we're really below average.
It deals with Unchained. I'd put it in the middle. A, because it's good, but it's not generally applicable to every matchup. That's how I'd say it.
Enemy Controller. I think Enemy Controller got a lot worse without kashtira, to be honest.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It did.
It's probably just bad now. I mean, maybe it's just really below average. I'll put it in below average.
Yeah.
Because, like, you can still
agree.
run it in certain decks and, like, get Zeus out of it. So. There's only a couple more, really. Skullmeister. I think Skullmeister is pretty good against Unchained. So probably in the average, below average.
Below average. That card is awful against everything else. It's just Ghost Bell, but worse.
Ibli. Why is Ibli on this list? I feel like I mean, Ibli's really good. Like, it's just like one of those generic cards. Like you can probably run Rescue Ace, you can run Sprite, you can run it in like theoretically any Cyverse deck, or that doesn't like lock you. Like you could have ran that in Salad before Salad the Fire, to be honest.
I could have probably end up doing that in the Floodgate build when I remake it.
Yep.
I'd say Italy is good. It's just very matchup dependent because like it's awful against Unchained, but it's like insanely good against Purely. It's like horrid against Rescue Ace, but it's like insanely good against Branded. So yeah, I'd say it's average. Nothing special, but good enough.
Is that mistaken arrest? I can't tell.
Which one is it? What's the artwork?
Yeah, it is mistaken arrest. Some people have been running mistaken arrest. I have no clue why, but
Mistaken arrest is drawing Lockbird, but you have to be going first to use it.
yeah. I feel like that's probably just below average.
Yeah, that just sounds like Droll and Lockbird with extra steps and less consistency.
We're just kind of labeling these, or some of these B tiers. They don't really need to be in order, to be honest, because I don't have too much space. What else did we miss?
I think we covered everything.
Crossout Designator and Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon. I'm inclined to say Daruma is like middle of A tier. It's very strong where it's strong, like next to Phantasme, basically. And then Crossout, I think, is the same.
Yeah, I don't even really think Crossout is like much of a tech card in terms of do I side it or do I main it. I'd say Crossout is like I'm going to main it, but the quality of my Crossout is deterministic of the cards that I'm maining and siding. So I don't really think Crossout fits the bill in terms of what this discussion is really about. But if I were to rank it, I'd say it's A tier. It's more so like you have to look at it through the lens of, does my deck lose to specific cards that are really popular right now? If it does, I'll play it. If it doesn't, I'm not touching this card. And with Karma Cannon, it's really good in specific matchups, but there are times where it is literally dead, or like you lose more advantage from it than your opponent does.
I actually think it got a lot worse without Cash, so it might actually be like B tier, honestly.
I can agree with that. Karma Cannon definitely had its time in the spotlight, but I'm pretty sure right now it's just kind of like slowly going to fade out of the format.
I think it's still an alright thrust target. I just think it's not as good as it, because its purpose was to like turn skip Cash.
Yeah.
Now it has like okay application against Purrely to make them send, but you probably can't get to that point.
I mean, at that point, Book of Moon is just better.
So Delta is right next to Gamma, I'd assume.
Yeah. Delta's the spell negate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like terrible. Oh my god, it's so bad.
What's this one card? Okay, Pankratops. How do we feel about Pankratops?
Well, Fender didn't get limited, and Pankratops didn't come back to 3, so unfortunately, it's probably going to be in the exact same spot it was last format, where it's like, if you aren't playing Dino, you better play Fenrir, and if you can't afford Fenrirs, play Pank. I'd say Pank goes into side. It's horrible against Unchained. It does nothing in that matchup. It's all right against Purrely. It's going to get it's just like Fenrir. It's going to be insane against rogue decks. I'd I put it in A tier. I don't know where that's up to like your discretion because I personally put it like towards the middle where like it's good, but then again it's a sack you want to just like call by the grave, so gotta hope you draw it.
I'm inclined to put a battle move A tier because it's not great against Unchained, and it's like a one card thing, and right now there's a lot of boards, but also like it's still just amazing. It's Pancratop, so like yeah, A tier. I think that is it. There is one more, or Ghost Reaper. I think Ghost Reaper is bad.
No, there's no. Ghost Reaper is good in the mirror, and if you're not playing Unchained, it's horrible because you don't have extra deck space. Put in the best cards.
I want everyone who's watching the stream currently or watching it as a VOD or a podcast to go onto the YouTube video and leave a like and subscribe if you're not already, because this is a 2-hour podcast / live stream, so I appreciate everyone coming out. We basically have covered the ban list and all of the staples. We got through them all, and this will just serve as episode 2 of the podcast because we're figuring out the podcast right now. We're most likely going to move it over to an audio only thing, kind of like this, because it just works out better, so people aren't like lagging, and like we can just like have anybody on that way. I did like the intimacy of having it in person. Maybe we can eventually move to that when we have more of a budget, but I think for now this kind of format will work better. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. I think that's going to be it from us. You know, I think it was a disappointing ban list to say the least, but I also think if you like the format before, you're going to like this list. Like, I'm a part of that. I know a lot of people did not like this list, which is totally fair, and there's a lot more. It was really just one of those lists they could have done a lot more with, which is unfortunate. And then also, the staples have changed up a lot. There's some that really just went from S tier to B tier or B tier to S tier. I mean, not really. Actually, Fenrir, I think, was A tier before. Now it's S tier, and like talents, I think Ash just got better also. But yeah, so I just want to thank everybody. Kyle, Sam obviously was here, and then Glenn for coming on and spitting some Yu-Gi-Oh. We'll have to do this more. Look out. I mean, I'm streaming a lot, but you know, every Monday we're streaming around 7 a.m. p.m. and then also Wednesdays I stream locals, and check out our podcast. Like I mentioned, the link will be in the description. And also, we just released a bunch of new deck profiles. We're gonna have a Salamangreat deck profile pretty soon, from the horse's mouth himself, for the updated ban list of a pure fire build. I think you guys will very much enjoy that. Definitely we'll have to do more updated ban lists on Marine Sus and Branded and other decks. So yeah, check all that out. Leave a like, and thanks for watching.